You know, while we're ticking off these check boxes, turning them from checked to unchecked, let's touch on one that really can hamper you, and that's the one that says, I don't have the right gear. I've got to have this. And then you kind of, the blank thing, you fill it in. 200 millimeter lens or 800 millimeter lens, or I need to have the new Fuji X54, and I've got to go mirrorless. If I don't go mirrorless, there's just no hope for me. All the pros are going mirrorless. And all the pros shoot Canon. All the pros shoot Nikon. All the pros shoot Sony. Sanyo? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm a pro. I shoot Canon. And Nikon. And Lumix. And Hasselblad. And Mamiya. And Bronica. And Toyo. And Deerdorf. I might shoot Sony if I had the opportunity, and I guarantee you, there's probably a Fuji X-T2 in my future. But all that's crap. Just stuff. You know what you need to take good photographs? A camera. That's it. You know that stuff you hear on the internet, like, well, that's a kit lens. Can't be doing professional work with a kit lens. Yes, you can. Sure you can. Is it nice to have that L glass or that top of the line Sony whatever? Or throwing some Zeiss on there. Is that nice? Oh, God, yes, it's nice. It's beautiful. Do you need it? No, not necessarily. Depends on what you're doing. Do you realize how many photographs were taken from magazines with 8 megapixel cameras? Or hell, for that matter, with 6 megapixel cameras. There was a ton of pictures taken on 6 megapixel cameras that ended up in magazines because that's all that was available at the time. Did you ever pick up the magazine and say, wow, these pictures pretty much suck? No, you didn't. Stay the art. That brings us to today. Now it's like, oh, I got to have 70 megapixels or 60 megapixels. And some of it's like, oh my God, I wouldn't be caught dead shooting anything that's less than 40 megapixels. Is there a case for 40 megapixels? Well, absolutely there is. Of course there is. There's a ton of reasons to shoot 40, 50, 60 megapixels. There's a ton of reasons to shoot 100 megapixels and medium format. There's all kinds of reasons. Are they your reasons? You haven't even started photography yet. If you're indeed got that check mark. Now, I'm not talking to those of you who already started your business. I'm talking to those people who haven't started the business because they got that check mark that says, I don't have the right gear. Bullshit. I was just looking at the specs of the new Rebel. The T7i or whatever. Man, that looks like a hell of a camera. Really does look like a hell of a camera. Seen the spikes. It's a big dinosaur. It's got spikes. No, I'm talking specs here. Have you seen the specs on the new Nikons? Have you seen the specs on the Fuji X-T2? That's a camera that with a lens runs under $2,000. All you need's a computer, camera, lens, computer to process the images, and you're in business. Do you know how much equipment you need to start a deli or to start a pizza place? You know what a pizza oven costs? Way more than a camera. Way more. You have the right gear. You've talked yourself into believing you don't have the right gear. And as long as that box is checked, you ain't never going to have the right gear. It's always checked. I don't have a fill in the blank. If you had a 24-70 or equivalent in whatever format you're using, you pretty much do a hell of a lot of work. Pretty much do any job that's out there. My Nikon kit goes from 28 to 85. All primes, that's it. 28, 35, 50, 85. I got nothing longer. Well, I have an 180 manual focus, but I don't trust that. I don't trust my eye to that right now. So basically, I've got an 85 down to 28. Haven't been anywhere where I've said, geez, I wish I had a 24. That's not really true. There have been times where I've said, geez, I wish I had a 20 or 24. But I didn't really need it. It just may have been a little bit more convenient. Or maybe I'd had to figure out something to do a little bit differently. But the reality is, you've got what you need. If you've got a camera and a lens and a computer to do the kind of work that calls for that kind of gear. Now, if you say, well, I want to shoot food, then you need a camera, a 50 or a 60 macro, maybe a 35, maybe a 90, but I think a 50 would probably do it for you. You need a couple of lights, you need a boom and a stand. All of this is very inexpensive when you start out. Do you have to have Broncolor when you start out? No. Let your cheapy Amazon, whatever they are. I just saw some hot lights on Amazon, or continuous lights, not hot lights, continuous lights on Amazon. 3 soft boxes, 2 booms, stand, carrying case, the whole thing under $200. Is it state of the art? Oh, hell no. Are you state of the art? Are you? I thought you were just starting out because you don't have the right gear. So you haven't pulled the trigger yet. You can do the shoot with a Fuji X-T2, the kit lens that comes on it, and a couple of lights, $200. Pick up a nice laptop. You're in business for under $5,000. Don't get much cheaper than that. I'm not even sure a paper route would be cheaper than that. I don't know much about paper routes, but I can't imagine. So let's take off that thing. Let's just get rid of that whole box that says I don't have the right gear, because of course you have the right gear. If you've got a camera that shoots more than 8 megapixels, you're good. And if you need something else, you can rent it. It's not that hard. You got borrow lenses, you got borrowlenses.com, you got those guys are going to kill me. But the place out there in Boston, sorry guys, I can't remember your name. You got those guys, and they're amazing. I'll put the name down in the bottom. So you can get anything you need in a couple of days, and you can shoot it. Stop using BS as an excuse. If you're not ready, you're not ready. But if you're not ready because you think you don't have the right gear, you're wrong. Sorry. Erase that check mark today.